Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door. And here it is, the most requested, hopefully the most watched, but hopefully not the most embarrassing video we do each season. It's become a thing now, hasn't it? 1 to 24 predictions, and here they are. Just complete transparency, these things are an absolute nightmare. We put a hell of a lot of thought into them, and we also put our necks on the line and go ahead and do our 1 to 24s. So please enjoy the video. Please have your say, but remember, in debate, all roads lead to, okay then, what is your 1 to 24? So look, freedom of speech and all that, and we love to hear your views and your comments on what I've said. But go on, have a go, take the challenge. Let's see your 1 to 24s as well. It's tricky. We know you're most interested in the team you support. That'd be a really easy video, isn't it? Guess where one team's going to finish now. You've got to do all 24. So look, we've done this for a few seasons now. Varying success rates. I have my methods, and I'll show you them in a second. We'll use a little bit of data, but let's be completely plain about this. We're predicting the future in probably the most unpredictable football league there is in the world. So, look, it is what it is in that respect. But I always do kind of fall on what do I think makes a successful championship team and what tends to relegate championship teams as well. We're going to use that information, but at the end of the day, it's a hunch. And if my feel says this team, well, I've added it all up, but I still think this team's going to finish higher than that team, then there you go. We should also say this is a post-COVID world. And last season in the Championship, probably for the most significant amount in a while, that parachute money made a real difference, didn't it? Norwich top, Watford second, Bournemouth sixth, and they were the ones that had to ship out 3 of their main players as well. There's not a lot of money in the division. There's a lot of argument that certain teams are going to regress. Quite a lot of them, in fact. So you've just got to bear in mind as well the reality of the situation. Let's talk about my predictors. We used these last year. So I think the positive predictors of a successful season are a stable club, a financially strong club, and we know what that means in the Championship. Basically, not in danger of FFP and with some money to do some investing. Manager 2 seasons in, we always look at that in terms of pattern of play. Okay, Nuno bang went straight into it with Wolves, didn't he? Bielsa pretty much straight in at Leeds. But we always look for those teams that have had a manager in situ for a long time. There's not that many ever in the Championship. Strong squad can override most things. You tell me, can strong squad override average manager? The Fulham Scott Parker story, a lot of people were telling me it was. Their opinion. Recruitment positive. So is the team in a state of improvement or regression in terms of their recruitment? Are they getting better or worse? And positive momentum, that does a lot, and it tends to apply often to promoted teams. I remember Mowbray's Blackburn going straight into the top half of the table in the first half of their first season up. Also teams that have had good runs the previous season. If they don't have negative recruitment, which can sometimes override momentum. It's not an exact science, and we will be going with just hunches. Negative predictors, chaotic club. I think that more than anything. I mean, look at Sheffield Wednesday, look at Hull a couple of seasons back, Charlton, Wigan, owners relegate clubs. Financially weak, that can just be size, not necessarily bad spending before. If you haven't got a lot of money, you haven't got a lot of money. And certain teams every season have got a lot of money, particularly in comparison with the teams that haven't. Don't get me started on broadcast money. Managerial uncertainty. Do we know what to expect from the managers at the club? That helps. Weak squad, untested maybe at Championship level, who knows? Recruitment negative. Is the team worse than it was last season, basically? And negative momentum. Is the team in a losing cycle for 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons? Sometimes things build and then the levee breaks, in the words of Led Zeppelin. Down the bottom there, I'm going to use a few numbers as well. I'm going to use the points per game, not from the whole of last season, but for the last half of last season. So we'll see a real sense of short-term momentum. I'm going to match that against the 10-year averages, so I'll be able to tell you based on the last half of last season where traditionally these teams would finish. Also, I'm going to have a look at the last 3 finishes in whatever league these clubs that end up in the Championship have been in. Some of them have yo-yoed a little bit, let's just say, but it gives us a direction of travel, doesn't it? Right. Shall we get into this? And I'll say one thing before we start. There are 24 teams in the league. If Alex Ferguson managed all 24 teams, 3 Alex Fergusons would get relegated. 3 teams will be going down. Nobody wants to see their club go down. My club's got relegated out of the Championship in very recent years. It's not a lot of fun. 3 teams are going down, like it or lump it. I hope it's not your team. But 3 teams are going down. So do not take it personally if your team is in my bottom 3. Although I suspect Derby County fans will not take it personally at all. Because, I mean, look at all the negatives. Complete chaos. Financially weak with the FFP. There's nothing to spend there. Managerial uncertainty. Will Rooney stay? Will Rooney go? All of my things are ticked. Weak squad, recruitment in negative. Very negative momentum from last season. Just a basket case at the moment. And it feels like it would take a big turnaround for Derby to not finish bottom. There's also the fear of the longer it goes under the Mel Morris ownership. Could there be a points deduction? I think the accounts have got to be restated. Could even be a big points deduction if they don't get the ducks in a row and avoid FFP there. Last season, you can see, I was quite surprised about that. It did have Wayne Rooney's good run in it, I guess, the last 23 games. They would traditionally finish 19th with their last half of season form, but it's a very steep decline from 6th to 10th to 21st in the last 3 seasons. So, sorry Rams fans, great club that needs a new owner, and until that happens, big risk of relegation. So I've got Derby finishing bottom. Let me know your thoughts on that. And sadly, another traditionally big English club, title winning club, I've gone for Huddersfield in 23rd, down into the Championship. Parachute payments, they got them. They went out in a takeover. They went with the Cowleys. Then they went with Carlos Corberon. Look at the direction of travel down the bottom. 20th, 18th, 20th. Are they going to match that, or is there going to be a bit more of a drop-off? They've got a little bit weaker. It's been a lot of signings come in. Are they going to improve anything there? I wonder. And look at that. Last half of last season, 0.78 points per game. They would finish 23rd most seasons with that. In terms of my predictors, look, you've got a manager 2 seasons in. I've put recruitment positive in that there's more depth. Whether that means more quality or not, I don't know, because you can see I've put weak squad, negative momentum. Managerial uncertainty in the respect that certainly in my discussions on the Football 365 show we did this week, some people think Carlos Corberon's not long for this. Financially weak, there's not really a great deal of leverage, let's be fair, for a lot of Championship teams. So look, and I do admire Huddersfield and Corberon because they didn't sit in for draws. They got spanked a few times, scored some lovely goals, but particularly that 0.78 points per game over the last half of last season, well, we know if that doesn't improve by 20% or so, that they'll be in the relegation zone. So let's see if they can pick up. Good luck to them. I've got them in 23rd. Moving on, and I hate to do it to a newly promoted team, and indeed the champions Hull City, who won League One last season. So massive apologies to Hull fans. And look, we've got to line them up against Peterborough and Blackpool, who obviously I've not got going down. I think in terms of goals, Peterborough, and I do like the look of Krissy there. It feels a little bit like the Alarms have stuck with Grant McCann, and he's got them back at the first time of asking. And look, maybe I'm basing this on a game I saw Hull play against Ipswich. Ipswich went to Hull and won, and I thought Hull were quite basic. I know they had a very, very good season. I'm slightly concerned about the age of the guys at the back. I know they've brought in Huddleston and they've got Honeyman there as well. We were discussing that on the channel today. So, look, manager 2 seasons in, yes, fine. Was relegated last time he was here. Okay, had his legs cut out, didn't he, with Bowen and Grzycki sold, fine. Recruitment positive, plenty gone in. Inexperience, I don't know. Will these players step up? Maybe I'll be wrong. Positive momentum for sure, but club chaotic. And look, it sounds unfair, weak squad, but a lot of them have either failed or not done championship level yet. So that's my feeling. I know a lot of people have got all 3 promoted teams to stay up. Wouldn't that be fantastic, considering we lost 2 of them last season? But there we go. I've got the hard bit out of the way. That is my relegated 3. As ever, and I'll repeat this at the end, get involved in the comments. And you know, if you want to debate me, I'm just going to ask for your 1 to 24. So I need 3 relegated teams if you're going to do it. And then I'm going to ask you for the rest of the league anyway. So go get involved in that. Hold yourself to the same standard as I am here. Let's go on to a slightly happier place, which is avoiding relegation. And I have got Peterborough there, stable club, manager 2 seasons in. And look, we can count that over lots of spells with Darren Ferguson there. Recruitment looks good, doesn't it? And positive momentum. Look, weak squad, whatever you want to say. I know, look, Dembele's good, Clark Harris is good, Marriott could be good, Knight looks like a good signing. You just wonder whether they'll lose a lot of games and concede a lot of goals because they're going to go for it. Hopefully, if they can get around, and, you know, my take, always 45 to survive, 15 wins, doesn't matter if you lose 25 games then, doesn't it? So, can they do that? I think they possibly can. I think they've got more goals and attacking quality in them than possibly Hull, who obviously I've got below them. So, we go for Peterborough in 21st. Obviously, very high points per game. That's a League One points per game of 1.91, which would obviously put them in 2nd place in the Championship if they can replicate that. And they'll be going to the Premier League. So, and 7th, and 2nd. So the trajectory is up, and it feels like their time now to have another bash at the Championship. We've got Peterborough in 21st. Be happy with that, Peterborough fans. Stay in there, keep building. Probably. Who knows? They might go higher. 20th, Bristol City. Now, looks like I'm contradicting myself here. Look, I've got club stable and club chaotic. They had been the bastion of stability, Bristol City, building under Steve Lansdown, but it feels with Mark Ashton going out last season and Lee Johnson going in and being replaced by Dean Holden and then Nigel Pearson and then lots of players going out, tons of injuries, new chief exec, manager now in full time. And if you look at the direction of travel, 0.65 points a game for the last half of last season, which is the worst, or rather would project you to finish bottom based on the last 10 seasons if you roll that out. And look at the direction of travel as well. 8th to 12th to 19th. It's trending downwards, and I've gone with continuation of that. Managerial uncertainty. Look, Nigel Pearson has been kicking some backsides there at Bristol City, and it does feel like a bit of a ticking time bomb if it's not going well. Hey, if it goes well, I'm sure everyone will go with him. Weak squad, getting weaker. Okay, a couple of experienced heads in. I like the idea of Atkinson in from Oxford, but negative momentum over the past few years. So I've dropped Bristol City in at 20th, and they need to get back to where they were, frankly, a few seasons ago under Lee Johnson. Selling stars, finishing, Webster and Bobby Reed and Brownhill and Brian raising money, working that transfer market. Feels like it's all slowed down a little bit. Hopefully it'll come back for them because there's definitely a good club waiting to go there if they can get it. So Bristol City there in 20th. And in 19th, I've gone for Preston. Preston, you can see last three finishes, 14th, 9th, 13th. It feels like that first season under Alex Neil was a bit of a high watermark, wasn't it? I think they finished 7th, didn't they? It felt like they were very close. The team, off the back of the Simon Grayson era and Hugill and Barkhuizen and Johnson, it feels like they are in negative trend in terms of Pearson going out and Davies going out, Gallagher finishing. I don't want to get into they never replaced Vieira mode, but Hugill didn't really ever fill that hole. Callum Robinson going out. Feels like the team has been trending downwards in quality terms there. They are a stable club. Like I say, I think they're in negative recruitment. In last season, the last half, 1.26 would finish you 14th. Normally, I've gone for a bit more of a drop-off, and I should have put about the manager, shouldn't I, in the negatives that we frankly don't know. And a lot of times, a manager who has never been a first-team boss, who goes from assistant to manager, oftentimes it doesn't work out if they've... Look, sometimes we get people who've been managers before, drop in as assistant and then go back up. There seems to be more examples of that not working. So, will Frankie McAvoy last season? Normally quite loyal, Preston, but hey, we'll see where things end up there. I've gone for 19th for Preston. In 18th, staying in the Northwest, I've gone for Blackburn, and we just don't have a clue, really. Look, I've put club stable, and I've put manager 2 seasons in. Look, it's Fenke's and it's Mowbray, though, and there's a certain sense of Blackburn fans. I love Tony Mowbray, Ipswich captain, so anyway, bias left at the door, but they may feel like they're a bit fed up of him now. I don't know whether they're doing any better with somebody else, but there you go. Feels like they're in negative on the recruitment. Obviously, horrible injuries to Dak. Lots of players were loaned in, weren't they? Branthwaite, Harwood Bellis. There's players gone out as well. Some experience gone out of the squad. No Harvey Elliott, who looked like he was going to light the division up. And then, what happens with Adam Armstrong? That could completely tip this. If they sell Adam Armstrong and sign 5 players that are going to go into the first team, which is plausible with the amount they may or may not get for him, things could turn there, couldn't they? So it feels like Mowbray probably deserves to have a little look at that money, but we don't know how late it's going to go in the transfer window, and that makes me unsure about Blackburn. Direction of travel, 15th, 11th, 15th. I've got them dropping another 3 places down to 18th. Let me know what you think in the comments. There we go. Played my first bumper 18 minutes in. 17th place. Stay in the Northwest again. We go for Blackpool. Club stable. Look, manager 2 seasons in. I think he came in right at the end of the season before last. Brilliant from Krissy last season, and they really did look good in winning the playoffs. Recruitment looks decent and a bit more depth added. Obviously, weak squad's going to come up, and that's on the basis of that a lot of these players have never succeeded at championship level. But hey, there's a first time for everything. I just feel like they might be onto something with Krissy. Everything seems terribly well organised and terribly well done. And if you look at the direction of travel, 10th in League One, 13th in League One, and then jumped up 10 places to 3rd, which always looks like a job well done. 2 points per game for the second half of last season. So certainly in good form. And I don't know, is there something in this guy, Krissy? I think in terms of balance and organisation, possibly has it over the other 2 promoted teams, even though they were the playoff winners and not in the top 2. Anyway, stranger things have happened. Let me know what you think in the comments. I've gone for Blackpool, 17th. Will I be left with seaside egg on my face? In 16th, I have gone for Birmingham City. Now, Birmingham fans are getting very excited there last season. Lee Bowyer, big push there. The last half of the season, you can see they're 1.26 points per game is a 14th place finish. I'm sure if you completely isolated Bowyer's period, the number would be higher than that, but we can't go too small on the sample size. Look, Birmingham's been chaos, hasn't it? I've put club chaotic, financially weak, obviously FFP stuff. Recruitment does look good, and there is that small period of momentum pushing up. So can he get everything clicking and make that transformation? I've kind of hedged my bets a little bit. If you look last 3 seasons, 17th, 20th, 18th, they were functioning like a mid-table side, big improvement at the end of last season. So I've kind of gone halfway in between where they've been, where they headed, and a natural settle there in 16th, which would bump them up a little bit. We'll see. What we do know, if Lee Bowyer can do what he did at the end of last season for the whole season, they'll be way higher than 16th, and I will eat my words as I do. Again, put your 1 to 24 in the comments. Birmingham in 16th, and we move up to 15th. And Reading. Now, this is a big drop, and it's my first big drop here. And look, I've been embarrassed doing these before. I've had Huddersfield miles out in their first season. Miles out with Bournemouth last year. I thought they would tank. Millwall have screwed me over. Don't even start me on Stoke. So, bit of a gamble here. But a lot of the information tells us a trend down for Reading. Yes, manager will be 2 seasons in, won't he? But club chaotic, financially weak. And there does feel like a recruitment deficit now. Obviously, there's the embargo and the threat of FFP. Paunovic, lightning start last season, but look down the bottom there. The last half of the season, last 23 games, they're 1.3 points per game is 13th place form. I consider that their team is worse now without Michael Elise, Omar Richard. Yaku Maite is going to be injured for a long while. So I've dropped them another 2 places for that. Direction of travel is actually the opposite of what I'm saying. They've gone from 20th to 14th to 7th. But I feel that might be a peak last season. So I've dropped them 8 places down to 15th. I think there's enough quality still around there and enough stability if they can keep Laurent Rinamota fit for the whole season to, not go on long losing runs. Paunovic, good defensive manager as well. So I don't think there's going to be the ice cap hit that some people do, but I do think there's a drop-off coming for Reading. That's why I've got them in 15th. And in 14th, I've got another improvement for Coventry. Club stable. Okay, in Coventry terms, they're positively super stable considering what's gone before. But there you go. Manager 2 seasons in, he's doing a great job. Recruitment feels good, doesn't it? And very much positive momentum. In fact, of all our clubs, I suspect that's the biggest jump. 8th League One, 1st League One, 16th in the Championship. That's a 16-place jump across the league hierarchy in the past couple of seasons. I don't think they're going to jump another 8 places or whatever that would work out at. And I suppose you divide it by 3, another 5.33 places. But I think they can go up another couple of places into 14th. Obviously, looking again, I hate putting weak squad up there, but when you compare to some of these teams we're going to talk about, the parachute teams, and you look at the respective squads, you see how well teams like Coventry, who've come up from League One, have managed to do. So I've gone for them in 14th, and the improvement to continue and the stability to continue. And maybe they can do what Luton have done and hit the top half before long. Hey, maybe they'll do it next season. In 13th, unlucky for some, I've gone for Forest, and I'm a bit conflicted about Forest because Chris Hughton has tended to be an absolute beast in the Championship, but it does feel finally that FFP is, or fear of FFP has caught up with Forest now, because normally at this time of year they're buying 10 players, aren't they? And it's we'll worry about that down the line when the accounts have got to be handed. They've not done that, and it feels a little bit threadbare now, doesn't it? Manager 2 seasons in. I'm going to say that because he came like 5 games in last season. Club is always chaotic there at Forest under Marianakis, but they look stable. But hey, I thought they looked stable going into last season, and Lamucci was out 5 games in. Little did I know. And I do think they're in a recruitment deficit. The direction of travel goes 9th, 7th, 17th. So it was a big drop-off. You would expect some kind of bounce back. Are we expecting a 10-place bounce back and playoffs? I don't think so. I've gone for plus 4 places and Forest in to 13th. And maybe not even Chris Hughton, who's scored points galore in the Championship, can do this one. Let me know what you think as we come on to the top half. Are you ready? Okay, and our first top half side is... Oh, it's a drop-off there. And look, I've missed putting the Swansea badge on there. Apologies, no Swan there. But there is a very reasonable argument to think that Swansea are about to decline. I don't expect them to drop off a cliff. And we're recording this on July the 31st, and we're expecting Russ Martin to take over there. But this is a side that, well, look at the direction of travel. 10th under Potter, 6th under Cooper, 4th under Cooper. But no Cooper, no Gray, no Hurahan, no Ayew. Bids in for Grimes as well. Yeah, it feels like a lot of the good things that got them there the past 2 seasons are now no longer there. Yes, there's the positive momentum across 3 seasons, but chaotic I'm going for, and financially weak. They don't spend anything. They've relied on big sales. They've made stars and they've sold stars. Managerial uncertainty, well, literally don't have one at the moment. And we do feel like we're in a recruitment deficit, as in, I know players have come in, but, you know, have they tooled up to the level that they were last season? Last half of last season, still very good. Look, 1.61 points per game, which on your 10-year averages across the season, you'll finish 6th with that number of points per game. But I'm expecting a drop-off. They did actually finish in 4th, so I'm expecting... I've given it the big one. That's 8 places dropped off for Swansea. And I think even the most ardent Swans fans will be thinking, look, how many places lower than 4th is this going to be? Unless, if it is Russ Martin, we see some absolute managerial brilliance. You let me know what you think in terms of the Swans. And we go on to 11th. And I've gone for Luton to just edge themselves up another place. They finished 12th last season. Club, very stable. No messing about at Luton. Manager, I'm going to give him 2 seasons in because he's been there for the whole of last season, and he's been there before as well. He knows the club, Nathan Jones, doesn't he? Recruitment feels good, and it feels like a retooling of the team, really, that Nathan Jones built before he left for Stoke and then took back over. It feels like Jones' team number 2 is building nicely. Lots of positive momentum. Yes, the weaknesses, and they wouldn't even pretend, would they, Luton fans? Look, the CEO says we're not going to spend stupid money. Why would we do that? It's crazy. And lots of unproven players. But hey, this is your proving ground. Direction of travel, 1.39 points per game is 10th. That's the last half of last season. Would normally finish you in 10th. A friend of mine over on Patreon made a good point that maybe Luton and the quick transitions and the empty stadiums, they picked up a lot of close away wins last season. So maybe the away form drops off, but I think the team is better. So I've got them moving up 1 place from last season. Look at that direction of travel. First, up 5 places to 19th, up 7 last season to 12th. And I'm sure Luton fans be happy, keep that moving, get in that new stadium and cement Luton Town in the 2nd tier. And you never know where you can end up then. So Luton in 11th. Let me know what you think on that one. And in 10th. Oh, God. Right. Complete disclosure. I have been utterly atrocious at predicting Stoke since they've been down. First season, came down with Rowett, spent more money than Jeff Bezos has in his bank account in the first window. Terrible. Rowett out, Jones in, and what was the finish? 16th. Then, start the next season, Jones out, O'Neill in. Looked like they're climbing, you know, second half of the season looked really good. So I'm like, okay, predicted them to finish in the playoffs last season, and it just tailed off under Michael O'Neill. And look at those finishes, 16th, 15th, 14th, and the last half of last season, 1.08 points per game, which is going to drop you in 19th. So it wasn't a good last half of the season. They've held on to Powell. I like Wilmot in. Obviously, Cousins was sold, wasn't he? Can they get Tyrese Campbell back on the pitch? Because that will make a hell of a difference. So many players have gone out. They've done the streamlining they need to do. I've gone for a jump up of 4 places from 14th to 10th. So look, they'll probably stitch me up now. I've hedged my bets in at 10th. So look, I can only be 10 places out one way and 14 the other. But I've been bigger than that with Stoke before. Sod's Law, this will be the one where they do get the playoffs. But I've gone for them in 10th. I just don't see the rise being that steep. Let me know what you think in the comments for my annual embarrassment at the hands of Stoke. Into 9th place, I've gone for Cardiff. Difficult one to call, this one, because they finished 5th. Finished in the playoffs with Neil Harris after Neil Warnock went. Harris went out last season. Mick McCarthy came in. Year 2 of the parachutes. Remember, then you get 2 years of that because they're only up for 1 season in the Premier League. And it feels very much like, and I've seen this before at my club, get McCarthy in, safe pair of hands there. Mick needs players. He does. What did he say once? I'm not Merlin the Magician, I'm Mick McCarthy. But does feel like there's some stability there. The recruitment looks okay. Look, it's not as dense a quality squad. And Harry Wilson, who, look, we'll talk about him later on in the video, as you can imagine. Players like that aren't in there. I like the cut of some of the jib of the youngsters. And then you got some experience, Pack and Volks and Morrison, etc. What depends a lot is those young players and how well they step up. But look, you know what Mick will do, don't you? They won't lose many games. He never loses many games, does he? Last half of last season was very good. Look, 1.7, but there was that massive run of, I think, 7 straight wins, was it? Or 6, can't remember. But that would get you in 4th. Then a drop-off at the end of the season. Direction of travel is negative. 18th Premier League, 5th Championship, 8th. I've gone for 1 more year of trend down into 9th position. Let me know what you think, Mick and Cardiff in 9th. In 8th, I've gone for the wily old fox, Neil Warnock and Borough. Club is stable now after the Woodgate experiment. They're now austerity Borough, not parachute Borough. Didn't get up with the 2 years of parachutes they had under Woodgate, and then Pulis lost in the playoffs, didn't they, that first season, and then dripped out of it right at the end. The manager is 2 seasons in, and look, he's Neil Warnock. He knows what he's doing. Recruitment looks good, and momentum is positive. I've said their weak squad just in terms of a direct comparison with what Warnock's having, in front of him compared to what, say, Pulis had, when I'm sure I remember seeing them with Bamford, Asomba Longa when he was actually scoring, Adama Traore, loads of highly paid experienced ex-Premier League players, but it was an aging team. So, look, Warnock's building his thing. Last half of last season, only 1.22 on the points per game. Yes, okay, mitigating circumstances, COVID and fixtures and all of that stuff, but that would only give you 15th. Direction of travel is up for the last 2 seasons, 17th to 10th. I've got them up to 8th. Look, would I be surprised if Warnock got them in the playoffs? No, absolutely not. But I've just got them outside there in 8th position. Let me know what you think in terms of Borough. And here are last year's heroes, really. Barnsley, who I've got finishing in 7th place. And we'll go straight to the negative. That I don't know the slightest thing about Marcus Schopp. And let's be honest, neither do you, because we haven't seen him manage 1 minute in the Championship yet. He's new to here. But the setup at Barnsley is really, really good. They are now well tooled with good players. What will be very interesting is the complete mental football that Valérien Ismaël played last season. The little tweak across to what we assume will be, I don't know, more towards Struber than Ishmael. Club is stable, recruitment's excellent. They're a bit of a model now that Brentford are gone. Everyone will start holding Barnsley up as the flag bearers, won't they? Strong squad. Styles, you like that, don't you? Palmer, Benson's come in, new Belgian striker. But I haven't gone for a recruitment deficit. That wouldn't be fair. But look, no DK, no Mowat, no Ishmael. That was the striker, the captain and the manager of the team that finished fifth. So I do see a small drop-off, I have to say. And that drop-off, I think, is going to be 2 places. Look at that. Last half of last season, 1.91 points per game. That finishes third if you do that across the season. Direction of travel's brilliant as well. Second in the League One. 21st, up 5. Barnsley rose 16 places last season. 16. So the standard and the bar is very high. They're still punching if they finish where I'm saying they're going to finish in 7th. But I don't see them matching 5th. But they've proved me wrong and everybody else probably many times before. Let me know what you think on Barnsley as we get ready for our top 6. And you can really see the difficulty with doing this year with the knowledge of last season and how well the parachute teams did and just the fairly straightforward argument that squads are worse and clubs are trending down. I know everyone can't trend down, so we're going to have some trending up. So let's see what we've got in the playoff picture. I have gone for Millwall, and we've spoken about them a fair few times. Can they make that last step? Now, as of today, Jed Wallace is still at Millwall, and recruitment looks to have solved some problems. Benik Afobe is in, but look, we had Ken Zahor and Troy Parrott try to fill that void. George Saville's back. Scott Malone signed up full-time. Billy Mitchell will, move on in the world now. Danny McNamara. Ballard, who was so good on loan for Blackpool last season at centre-half. Cooper's still there. Bialkowski's still there. All of that says net recruitment positive. Momentum is positive, I feel, but it was -3 last season, down to 11th from 8th, up from 21st the previous season. Look, I've put financially weak. Don't take offence to that, any Millwall fans, but look at what the Millwall transfer record is, and probably what one of the parachute teams is going to pay an agent on one deal, and it's haves and have-nots, and Millwall really punch their weight. So, can Gary Rowett, who at worst is overly methodical and draws too much, and there isn't that attacking spark, but at best is pragmatic and hard to get by and hard to beat, has he got the goal scorer? Can Afobe do it? If he does, then I think, and don't think of it in terms of numbers, you tell me who's going to finish above them to get into those playoff places. So that's where we are. We've predicted an actual table rather than just one team and one place. But I've gone for Millwall in 6th. And in 5th, look at that. Who the hell would have thought we would have been saying QPR up in the playoff positions? But everybody has been talking about QPR, even back into the end of last season. You get asked this in streams and things of that nature on the channel. Who's your dark horse for next season? And we looked at the numbers, and we looked at the trends, and we looked at the recruitment, and a lot of what I would call the predictors point fairly and squarely at QPR as one who can improve. So, Warburton now, well, he passes my 2-season test. Squad is starting to get stronger. Goalkeeper's good. Dickey at the back, we like. Barbe played every minute, didn't he? De Vries, when they moved to the back three, nice. Austin, signed him. Johansson, signed him. Field, signed him. All of those loan players. Sam McCullum down the left, that's a upgrade. No offence to Lee Wallace in the left-back positions. Willock, look good. Chair, Adoma, bit of experience in there. It starts to stack up nicely, and they've done this nice and gradually over the past 3 seasons. Now, last half of last season, 1.91 points per game. That is as good as Barnsley were in the last half of last season. Obviously, they came from much further back, didn't they? Because they weren't very good in the first half of last season. Direction of travel, 19th, up 6 to 13th, up 4 to 9th. I've got them going up another 4 places and into the playoffs. It does feel like they're at the right point in the cycle for a challenge. Can they stay injury clear, and can they keep pushing what they were doing last season? Then can they challenge, because we're about to go on to the haves, and QPR look of the have-nots like the biggest challenger, don't they? Look, I'm going to hit the bumper before we get to this top 4. So, we've said COVID, transfer, austerity. It really does feel more than ever now that this money that's coming in for the parachute teams, this broadcast money, really is making more of a difference than ever. Maybe when stadiums open and Tracy Crouch's fan-led review is done, maybe something will change slightly. And that cliff edge will either be softened or it'll move somewhere else. And I don't want to sound like not in my backyard, but at the moment we all know there's a big cliff edge directly underneath the parachute teams where, okay, I'm sure there's plenty of Premier League teams that would argue there's a cliff edge underneath the Champions League teams to the middling Premier League teams. So they're everywhere, but this feels like a big one inside a division. It's not between a division, inside a division. So, sadly, you will have already realised that I have left over 1 year 2 parachute team and the 3 year 1 parachute teams. And I do think that the quality in squads and extra financial viability, if they can be competent, will be exploited again this season. It is what it is. That's how I feel. And if you think anyone can come through and usurp these 4, then honestly, I would love to see it. I think Kevin Keegan then. I would love it if we beat them. It would be great to see another Sheffield United or a Huddersfield who've never received one of those big bumper payments come through. It Leeds, in fact, never. But look, they're a bit different. They're a gigantic club with a world-class manager, weren't they? But will we get a fairy story this season? I'm saying no, but I'd love to be wrong. In 4th, I've gone for West Brom, and I might fall on my sword here because I know a lot of people think that West Brom squad is just going to be uber strong. And of course, with teams that have bounced, there are a lot of players in there who have been promoted before. We don't think Pereira's going to stay, but still, look, people like Carlin Grant and Callum Robinson have done it at championship level and got goals. And then you're just going through players who've been promoted before, Semi Ajayi, Sawyers and Livermore. And they may have a bit of a windfall if Johnston and Pereira are indeed sold. You just hope that it's at the right time in the window. Now, you're probably thinking, having said all of that, Ben, why have you not got them in the top 2? I just have, and this has nothing to do with any of my data here, which tells us they were rubbish last season because they're in the Premier League, 0.83 points per game. Terrible. Terrible finish there. But you can see the bounce there. 4th place championship under Darren Moore, Jimmy Shan. 2nd place championship under Slaven Bilic, promoted, and then back down 19th. So it's gone up. Obviously, it's guaranteed down this season. I just feel that Valérien Ismaël went into Barnsley into a well-run club with a low expectation and the element of surprise. He now comes into a quite well-run club. You know, not the exciting way, but look, they do their business well, West Brom, don't they? And that's why they've spent so many years in the Premier League. The element of surprise is gone. We think we know what to expect. There may be a delay in the window, and there may be a delay getting his message across. The players have got to buy in like the Barnsley players do. I'm sure they will, but it's then execution of that style. And I just wonder whether that might give the others a head start. And will it be a fatal head start? And look, in theory, there is an argument that okay, if Ismail recreates the style, and he will have better players and better resources at West Brom, and he finished 5th with Barnsley, then go figure, up you go. But I just wonder whether there might be some bedding in time that might be required. So I've got West Brom in 4th place. Let me know what you think. Look, and this is where we do get into don't take it personally and don't obsess about your own club, because let's be honest, any of these teams will be expecting their team to go up now, won't it? Fans of those teams. So look, again, get your own 1 to 24 in, and then we can have a proper discussion. 3rd place, and I'm probably going to get strung up for this, I've gone for Bournemouth. I just have a feeling that Scott Parker's going to be a good fit at Bournemouth. And again, screw the data, because the data tells me, look, direction of travel, 14th Premier League, 18th Premier League, 6th Championship. Last half of last season, I don't appear to have the points per game up there. I'm sure that's not right in terms of 10th, because there was a big run there. In fact, I can probably work it out off the top of my head. Bournemouth, Bournemouth, 35 points from the last 25 games. I'm really, really sorry. We're going to do a bit of maths live in the video. 35 divided by 25, 1.4 points per game. Okay, no, it is 10th. So 10th place form, but that does include, I guess, Tyndall. But there was a good run under Woodgate. Tyndall must have had a really bad run into the bargain there. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is that they look like they've cleared the decks in terms of financial worries, and there's just a lot of good players there still. I know Begovic has gone, but look, Cook, Mepham, Kelly, Stacey, Lerma is still there. Pearson was good. Billing is still there. Danjuma is still there, but he'd probably go. Solanke, Surridge. There's a lot of good players, and they put Marcondes in. There'll probably be a sale, probably Danjuma at some point, and then they'll be able to invest. And I just think that strong squad. And look, we'll find out about Parker, won't we? He's been promoted from here before, and I just think he'll get them going. And I'm going for 3rd place for Bournemouth, and first game of the season, the two I've just mentioned, Bournemouth versus West Brom. So, yeah, I'm sure I'll get lots of comments, whichever way that one goes, saying that my predictions in May are now wrong after one game. But what are you going to do? Hey, Bournemouth in 3rd. So, look, you probably know the two teams I think are going to get promoted. Which order, though? Let's find out. Sheffield United, I have gone for in 2nd place. Look, we all know the story. Wilder, League one season championship, next season in championship, promoted 9th in Premier League, off a cliff. End of cycle now. But Sheffield United come down with some very, very good players. We think Ramsdale's going to be sold. If they keep Sander Berger, they'll be doing all right. That could be a Buendia type effect if they can not flog him, although you'd think they're probably going to have to. Bogle's done really well in this division before. You've got Lowe, you've got Stevens, and then McGoldrick, okay, aging, does the business. Brewster took the mickey for Swansea. McBurney scored 20 plus goals. You've got Jokanovic, who plays very attacking football. Now, he is a slow burner, and in both of those seasons with Fulham, the one where he lost in the playoffs and the one where he won in the playoffs, it was a slow burner, wasn't it, in both of those seasons? But then crazy runs. And I just think with that extra quality he's got there with the relegated squad, the parachute money, and the potential goal threat there, and a lot of season tickets sold up at Bramall Lane, I think we could get the bounce back. I think it'd be a back four. So I think the Wilder 3 at the back days are gone. But I can see Sheffield United finishing in the top 2. And we know with the parachute teams, the year 1 teams, any lower than that, a couple of places lower than that, is deemed a failure. And outside the playoffs, it's frankly unacceptable. So the pressure is on, but I think he's been there, he's done it, and I think he'll have them ready to go. Although Blades fans are a little bit worried in terms of lack of movement in recruitment so far. But hey, we will see. In first place, Fulham. They have become Championship promotion gurus, haven't they? Promoted in the playoffs the last 2 times they've been here. Mitrovic doing the business, the Championship cheat code. You would think if they can keep him out on the pitch, you just reel off now players that have been there and done it. Knockaert, Cavaliero, Kearney, Harrison Reed, Bobby Reed. I'm sure Anguissa will be sold. People like Joe Bryan. Right the way through the team, Harry Wilson has now come in. He'll be expected to really deliver at a promotion favourite. Only Gazzaniga has come in as the goalkeeper as well. I think they're ready to go. Really, the only question is Marco Silva. How quickly can he get everything gelled? He's an experienced guy. He's worked the Premier League. He's probably a little bit older and a little bit wiser than when he was at Hull and Everton and Watford as well. And I just think mere competence with that squad and with those heavily decorated Championship players at his disposal, I think that Fulham can go the distance and not need the playoffs this time. And that is my 1 to 24. And look, again, the comments, all debates lead to, let's see your 1 to 24 then, please. Look, again, we put our heads above the parapet. We do this. Don't give me your opinion without give me your opinion. We get so many comments like, oh, how can you have so-and-so there? Well, tell me where you'd put them then. So get your 1 to 24s in. It's supposed to be a little bit of fun. We will check these back and see what your predictions are. So if I see your comments edited, I'll assume that you've cheated at some point and edited it during the season. But please get me your 1 to 24s in. Don't obsess about your club. This is not about your club. And I know fans love to do that. And of course you care about your club more than any other club. This is about all 24. And a league table works as one. So you can't just give me one team for one place, because that means another team can't finish there. And as I say, all roads lead to, let's see your 1 to 24. But look, please do get involved in the comments. I'm trying to mitigate the crazy ones, the emotional ones. And look, if I've tipped your team to go down, hopefully they'll prove me wrong. If you think your team are going to go up and I've tipped them to finish in the middle, hopefully they'll prove me wrong. Again, it's not about your team. It's about the league as a whole. And I would once again urge you to get involved in the comments. Shall we rattle through? 24, Derby. 23, Huddersfield. 22, Hull. 21, Peterborough. 20, Bristol City. 19, Preston. 18, Blackburn. 17, Blackpool. 16, Birmingham. 15, Reading. 14, Coventry. 13, Forest. 12, Swansea. 11, Luton. 10, Stoke. 9, Cardiff. 8, Borough. 7, Barnsley. 6, Millwall. 5, QPR. 4, West Brom. 3, Bournemouth. 2, Sheffield United. And 1, Fulham. Woof. There we go. It's done for another year now. I don't have to. Do you know, honestly, I now don't look at these. I get reminded all the way through the season what I've picked, but I promise I won't look at it until the table's done after 46 games next May. So, look, that is the 1 to 24s. Polished, done. I've had my say, now you have yours. Get your thoughts in the comments. I'll go and get my tin hat to cope with the emotional ones. But again, don't take it personally and give me your 1 to 24s. And you go like that to me at the end of the season if you're right and I'm wrong. And we can all hopefully have a little bit of fun doing this. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank God we only have to do that once a season. And it's a big over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.